The invisible prison. Most people believe they think for themselves. But what if that isn't true? What if the person you believe you are is actually a collection of ideas, habits, fears, and beliefs that were quietly installed long before you were old enough to question them? The moment you're born, your brain begins absorbing information like a sponge. Your parents teach you what is right and wrong. Your teachers define intelligence. Society tells you what success looks like. Advertisements convince you what happiness should look like. Friends influence your behavior, and social media shapes your desires. Piece by piece, your identity is constructed, not consciously, but automatically. Eventually, these borrowed beliefs become so familiar that you stop recognizing them as borrowed. You call them my opinions, my personality, or who I am. This is one of the greatest illusions of human psychology. The subconscious mind has a simple rule: whatever is repeated becomes believable. It doesn't ask whether an idea is true or false. It asks only one question: have I heard this enough times? If a child repeatedly hears, "You're not smart enough," that sentence slowly transforms into an identity. If someone grows up hearing, "Money is difficult to earn," they may unconsciously avoid opportunities because wealth feels unfamiliar. The brain mistakes familiarity for truth. That's why changing deeply held beliefs feels uncomfortable. You're not simply changing an opinion, you are challenging part of your identity. Ironically, your brain isn't designed to discover truth. It evolved to help you survive. Thousands of years ago, survival depended on belonging to a tribe. Being rejected could mean isolation, starvation, or death. As a result, the human brain became extremely sensitive to social approval. Today, rejection usually means a negative comment, an embarrassing moment, or criticism from strangers online. Yet your nervous system reacts almost as if your survival is at stake. This explains why people remain silent in meetings despite having good ideas, avoid chasing ambitious dreams because others may laugh at them, or spend countless hours trying to impress people they barely know. The fear isn't always logical. It's ancient. Fear is one of psychology's greatest masters because it rarely introduces itself honestly. Instead, it disguises itself. It calls itself procrastination when you're afraid to fail. It calls itself perfectionism when you're afraid of criticism. It calls itself comfort when you're afraid of change. It calls itself realism when you're secretly afraid to dream bigger. Most people spend years fighting the disguise without ever confronting the fear beneath it. Another fascinating feature of the human mind is confirmation bias. Once you believe something, your brain begins searching for evidence that supports it while quietly ignoring evidence that contradicts it. If you believe people cannot be trusted, every betrayal becomes proof. If you believe you're unlucky, every setback confirms your story. Your brain becomes less like a scientist and more like a lawyer, constantly defending beliefs it has already accepted. Memory is equally deceptive. Most people imagine memory as a video recording stored inside the brain. It isn't. Every time you remember an event, your brain reconstructs it. During this process, emotions, current beliefs, and later experiences subtly rewrite the memory. You don't simply remember the past. You recreate it. This is why two siblings can remember the same childhood in completely different ways. Both may genuinely believe they are correct because each has reconstructed the past through a different emotional lens. Human beings are also trapped by comparison. For most of history, comparing yourself with a few dozen people in your tribe helped you understand your place in society. Today, your brain compares your ordinary life with millions of carefully edited lives displayed on the internet. You see someone else's success but not their failures. Their achievements but not their struggles. Their highlights but not their ordinary Tuesdays. Comparison creates an impossible standard because you're comparing your behind-the-scenes reality with someone else's carefully selected moments. Perhaps the greatest misunderstanding about happiness comes from believing it exists somewhere in the future. I'll be happy when I earn more. I'll be happy when I buy that house. I'll be happy when people finally recognize me. But psychology shows something surprising. Human beings adapt. The dream job becomes routine. The new phone becomes ordinary. The expensive car eventually feels normal. The mind quickly adjusts its expectations and begins searching for the next destination. This is known as hedonic adaptation, the tendency for extraordinary experiences to slowly become ordinary. The chase never truly ends. Unless you change the one thing doing the chasing. And that brings us to the most powerful discovery in psychology. You are not your thoughts. Thoughts appear automatically. You didn't choose your next thought before it arrived. You simply became aware of it. Thoughts come and go like clouds passing through the sky. Some are useful. Some are irrational. Some are creative. Some are destructive. But none of them define who you are unless you choose to believe them. The real self is the awareness observing those thoughts. The moment you begin watching your mind instead of automatically obeying it, something remarkable happens. You create space between stimulus and response. Fear loses some of its power. Old beliefs begin to weaken. New possibilities appear. You stop living on autopilot. The greatest prison has no walls, no locks, and no guards. It is built from unquestioned beliefs, unconscious habits, and invisible fears. Most people spend their entire lives decorating that prison instead of escaping it. Freedom begins with a single decision. To question the stories your mind has been telling you for years. Because the moment you become aware of your own psychology, you stop being controlled by it. And that may be the beginning of a truly authentic life.